What's going on, YouTube sword community? This is going to be the collections video. I've tried to make this numerous times, failed numerous times. So we're just going to go for it this time, and hopefully it's halfway decent. Before I get into it, I'm just going to let you guys know now, every single spec isn't going to be involved in this video. That'll take us from like 30 minutes to an hour. Nobody wants that. Nobody has time for that, including myself. So we're just going to kind of go for it. I'll give you a little fucking specs on it here and there. Like I'll give you the Suka length and the Gasa, the weight, and give you my thoughts on it, and then we're just going to move on, because otherwise it's going to be way too long of a video. But this is one of the review samples that Rom sent me. This is my Suradoi Katana. Unakubi Zakuri geometry, so it's got like the Sohi here, and it's got like the smaller bohi back down here. Tapers to like a swedge up here. Really cool geometry of a katana. This is the only Unakubi that I have in my collection currently. Probably will be the only one that I get. It's not a geometry that I'm particularly interested in, though it does handle and perform incredibly well. It's really not my cup of tea. But this is an incredibly light blade. The Tsukamaki on this is fantastic. Mitsudome theme. Go ahead and grab it to show you guys. But so you can see the Tsukamaki on here. Very even. Brass Mitsudome fittings. This blood splatter Ishime saya that goes down to like a black piano finish. Aesthetically, the saya, not my favorite, but the grip on it and doing saibiki and just using it, it feels fantastic. I really can't complain about it at all. This was a blast to use. I got a lot of great cuts with this. It's a really light, nimble sword. Through hardened, so you have no hamon on it. But it handles really well, and it's a very reasonable price for what you're getting. I think this thing came in at like $155 or something like that, right around there. And yeah, it was a joy to review and to cut with. And I've since given it to my stepson. I've sharpened it since, and it's kind of usually what I do. Like, I'll wait for my review to be over, and then I'll sharpen it, because all these swords come really sharp for the most part. The ROMs especially came razor sharp. They're some of the sharpest production katanas I've gotten. But, you know, going through the month and cutting as much as I cut, you know, sometimes I wear the edge. So putting my edge on it is just something that I just usually do. It's kind of gives me peace of mind. So when I grab it, I know it's going to do exactly what I want it to do. So you might see some scratches on the blade and stuff like that, but I mean, it's used to cut. It's not a showpiece, so. But some specs on it. The thing comes in at 2.25 pounds, so 2 1/4 on the weight. Nagasa 28 inches, and Suka length 10 3/4. It would be 10 1/2. That's usually their standard Suka size, but this fitting back here kind of juts out a little more than the other Kashira that they have, so it adds another 1/4 inch. So yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say about this one. It was a fantastic sword to cut with, and it's very inexpensive, like I said. So if you're looking to get into this hobby and you want something that's light, that indexes well, and that's very audible, as far as Tachikaze, you know, the sword wind when you're swinging it, that'll tell you if you're on with your edge or not. This is a perfect tool for that, and it's priced very fairly. So keeping with that same theme, we'll get another review sample out here, and we'll kind of just work into the blades that that I purchased myself. So this is the Fukyo Katana from ROM. Standard brass fittings, silk Tsukamaki on a $200 sword. That's this even and this well done is almost unheard of. Side note to that, actually I have it right here, so you guys can look for yourselves and tell me if you see what I see. But to me, this sword and this sword have almost the exact same Suka. One was much more expensive than the other. So this is the Shadow Dancer. That's the Shadow Dancer Suka. Here's the ROM Suka. It's almost the exact same shape. Actually, it is the exact same shape, and it's the exact same length. So, food for thought. That Shadow Dancer is like twice the price of the sword. But Silk Ito is one of my favorite Tsubo on any of the katana that I have. Absolutely love this. Love this design. This pear skin saya that they got going on feels really good. Not as grippy as the Suradoi was. It's not really an SMA. It's I don't know even really how to describe it. It's definitely got grip to it, but it's smooth. I don't know. It's an anomaly. But yeah, really cool sword. Really light. Shinogi Zakuri double bohi, which you don't often see in production swords at all, let alone a sword that's $200. But this thing has done a lot of things in that price point that you know, even more expensive swords struggle to do. So I was super impressed with this thing. Some of the best cutting I've ever done was done with this sword. And I have blades that are much more expensive that just don't perform as well. This blade is meant for like light targets. When ROM sent it to me, they let me know, you know, light targets is pretty much what this thing is designed for. So like if you're cutting bamboo and wood dowels, this probably isn't the blade for you. This is also a through hardened spring steel. I think it's 5160. I believe the Suradoi is also. But they're both through hardened spring steel, for sure. But yeah, if you're cutting like water bottles and pool noodles and stuff like that, this is an incredible blade, incredible bargain for what you're getting. It's just, it came razor stupid sharp out of the box. There's not really many swords that I can say came as sharp as this one. Save for like an HSTS or something like that, but those aren't in production anymore, and they're way more money than this is. So I feel like this is an absolute win from ROM. You're not really going to find a better cutter for the price, in my opinion. So yeah, highly recommend this thing, man. And then this is another one that's very audible. You know, you can tell when you're right on with your edge. If you can't hear it, then you're not. It's just a very good sword for what they want for it. And I was actually really impressed with it. So that's this. Let me give you the specs on it too, because I'm kind of putting it away without doing that. I'm already fucking this up, but that's alright. So the Fukyo weighs in at 2.18 pounds. Very light. 28-inch Nagasa. 10.5 Suka. Silk Ito on a $200 sword. Come on, man. So, now we're going to go to the sword here. I gotta find it. I gotta dig all this stuff out. I got them all on my couch, so. Get it out of the sword bag. Probably should have done this before the video started, but it's alright. Space Ghost video. I know you're not expecting professionalism. But this is the Swordier Tameshigiri Series XL blade. This was also a review sample. This was sent to me by Swordier. Features a tiger theme. I love a tiger theme on a katana. I'm a huge Shigarui fan. If you know, you know. But yeah, just this is a fantastic sword too. So basically, what I would equate this to is like a Hanwei Practical XL. Very similar profiles, both XL style blades, both Shinogi Zakuris, both differentially hardened. The only difference, this is a T10 blade, and I believe those are 1566. But this is another Suka that's really well shaped. If you're into like the thin, like Rico shaped kind of Sukas, this is a fantastic fucking Suka. Silver Manuki kind of offsets this color really well, I think. These fittings have kind of lost their patina. You can kind of see right here like what it originally looked like. It had this kind of like blacked out look to it with the brass, but I actually kind of like it better with just the brass. I think it looks a little better. Features this tiger motif down here at the saya. I dig it. You know, some people might not, but I was a big fan of this one. 3-color polish, Segua Hamon. It's another one I've also shopping. They're all going to be shopping. You know what I mean? Once these reviews are done, they get shopping. But, yeah, just a really good blade for what it is. Not many places offer an XL style blade. More are starting to do it now, but think at the time that I was doing this review, really the only people who did it are like Hanway. The only people around who were doing it were like Hanway and Sortier. There's not really many other XL style profiles out there. But if I was to pick this or a Hanway, I would take this all day long. I think they just did a much better job with the blade, with the fittings. Maybe not with the fittings, but with the blade and with the Suka. I think this thing is head and shoulders above a Practical XL. I was a big fan of this one. Also a pretty light nibble sword. We'll give you some of the specs now before I forget. Sortier, what did that weigh in at? 2.5 weighed in at 2.5 pounds. The Nagasa is 28.25 inches long, and the Suka is 12 inches. So if you're like me and you like a longer Suka, and it's a great blade, man. A lot of fun to cut with. This thing was able to do a lot of things out of the box that I wasn't expecting it to be able to do. Hadn't had really any experience with Sortier prior to this review, but it was kind of like an eye-opening experience to see what kind of quality they have to offer. Alex over at Sortier is a great guy. Also a cutter, big into that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool to have like somebody who, you know, enjoys the same kind of thing in the sword market and values that kind of thing. So, you know, the cutting review was awesome to be able to do for somebody like that. It's always cool when there's like somebody who's enthusiastic about the hobby making the same stuff. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you have a better chance of getting what you want if there's somebody out there who knows what to make. You know what I mean? As opposed to somebody who's just trying to make money. But yeah, this was a great blade to use. Did this one for the month of December, kind of rolled into January, but yeah, it was a pleasure to cut with. I still use it often. It's a lot of fun to use, man. So that's this one. I can get into the next one now. So I guess we'll start with this. This is my ROM Peruto Shidao differentially hardened T10. I have fucked with this thing, and not in a good way. I rewrapped this myself, which is usually not a good move for me. I'm not anywhere near good at Sukamaki, but this came with a double Ito. These Suka are really well shaped, but the double Ito kind of made it a little cumbersome. So I ditched the under wrap and tried to rewrap it with this. What I should have done is send it to somebody who's a professional, like Samurai Bird, or Adam over at Student of War Customs, or Josh at Cottontail. You know what I mean? One of those guys who knows what they're doing. But this is a great blade, differentially hardened T10. Features a really different kind of style of hamon. It's going to be hard to tell. Like I've polished this. I've done a bunch of stuff with this, but this had a really prominent hamon when I got it. This is kind of like my project blade. Like I do stuff to this thing that I wouldn't normally do with other ones, just to see how it comes out. You know, I'm constantly learning, doing the sword thing as far as working on swords go, and everything like that. So this is a great tool to be able to learn on, but it was also a great kata. Still is a great kata. I've done quite a few things with this, but it's got this almost like rattan, fake like rattan wrap. Saya, it's like a speckled blue. It's actually really nice looking. Went with this whole theme really well. This one needs a little more love, but it'll get there. But this isn't representative of what you would get from them. Like I said, this is something that I Frankensteined and kind of just made my own. I like it. It's something that, like, this is the go ahead and try it blade. You know what I mean? That's somebody comes over and they want a card or something and they haven't before. This is generally the blade that I hand them. Not so worried about it getting messed up or anything like that. And but yeah, great blade. Shinogi Zukuri geometry. Put it up here so you guys can see it. I love this style of saya. You'll see this on a couple of my blades. Big fan of that. I love the fittings on this, the black and silver. I feel like just look killer. And anything that's blue, Ito over white Same, I'm there. It's my favorite color combination on a katana. I love to see it. I wish I saw it more. The only difference from this, from like what you would see if you would purchase this yourself, is I had asked Rom if they could swap out the habaki for me and give me this like copper brass rainfall habaki, because on their site, it had one of those leopard habakis. And I know you guys all know how I feel about the leopard habaki. I absolutely hate those. I think they're the most gaudy thing under the sun. I wish they would just go away permanently. But, yeah, so I had them swap that out. So that's really the only difference. But I'll give you some specs on this guy, too. This thing weighs in at 2.29 pounds. It's a 28-inch Nagasa, again, and a 10.5-inch Suka. Yeah, once again, Rom makes great stuff. I think this is like a little under $300. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can have for $300. I kind of like, the selling point for me was the, you know, the unique kind of hamon that it had on it, and just the color of everything. And like, I'd had experience with Rom stuff. I had another model from them that I've since given away to one of my sword friends. Don K. Hammett has it now. Awesome channel. If you haven't checked out him, please go check him out. I'll link him. Everybody that I mentioned in this video, I'll link. But yeah, great channel. He does a lot of blade projects. He's a cutter as well. History buff. Great artist. I could go on and on. Dong is an awesome dude. But yeah, so Rom, excellent blades. If you don't believe me, go see the things that I've been able to do with them. Fantastic swords for what you pay. So what are we going to now? We're going to do a couple wakizashis now. Hopefully, you guys haven't really seen this many places before. But this is the Munetoshi Water Dragon. This Suka is incredible, man. True Rico shaped Suka. Pretty sure it's cotton. Not the best Habaki fit, so you can hear it. But differentially hide in 1060. Shinogi Zakura geometry. This thing's a beast. Real beefy for a wakizashi. Some people won't like that. I do like that. I don't do a lot of offhand stuff. I messed my hand up at work long ago, and that's about as far as that will go backwards. So I'm kind of limited as to what I can do grip wise with it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to use when I do use it. Generally, when I buy these wakizashi, I always kind of wish that I just bought a katana instead. I think it's going to end up being like I'm going to end up being a Tanto guy because of that injury. But yeah, this thing's a lot of fun to use, man. I haven't really done anything with this. I didn't even show it like when I got it. A lot of these I haven't shown when I got them. I just kind of got them and held on to them. But there you go. There's your Suga on here. Black painted iron, I believe they are. Really like that at the end there. That Kashira. But so, I mean, it's a little bunchy. It's not the greatest quality. But you got to realize too, this thing was stupid cheap. I forget what I paid for it, but it was very reasonable. But I'll give you a couple of the specs here on this guy. But you kind of see like the hamon on it right there. So the Munetoshi Water Dragon weighs in at 1.77 pounds. Nagasa 19.5, and Suka length is 6 3/4. So, you know, pretty close to that 6-inch Suka that everybody's looking for. You know, any longer than that, it kind of just gets in the way of you cutting if you're wearing it in a traditional sense. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not much else to say about this one. It's kind of like a blast from the past. I got this thing basically as a companion sword for my HSTS Budo. Just because I figured it would be like some old school, you know what I mean? A little Munetoshi, a little HSTS. Two brands that aren't really around anymore. I figured it was fitting, so. But yeah, I mean, the hamon on it is like your typical budget hamon, you know. Not really much activity in it, but it's there. So, I mean, that's really what I look for in a sword anyway, you know what I mean? To me, it's not really a katana unless it has a hamon. I know, unpopular opinion it might be, but yeah, it's very good wakizashi. I like it. I don't use it nearly as much as I should, but pretty cool. Saya, it's just your standard piano black, rounded at the end. You don't often see that. Usually squared off, but not completely uncommon. Koiguchi, not terrible. Sageo, generally I ditch these, or I do the martial arts tie on them. We just run the Suka down, the Sageo down the saya, tie it at the end. That way it doesn't get in the way when you're actually using the sword. I have a Dragon King modern wakizashi in here somewhere that I'm trying to find. There it is. Of course, it's at the bottom of the pile, right? This is my DK modern wakizashi. This is one of the first runs they did. Tiger here. Tiger here. You got your little lanyard hole. I expected to hate these. I have the katana also, which I gifted to Armored Sweatpants. Awesome channel, awesome dude, awesome musician, awesome cutter, and awesome human being. Armored Sweatpants is a wicked good dude. If you haven't checked him out, definitely give him a check out. Go give him a like, give him a sub, give him a check out. But yeah, Armored's a good dude, man. He's done some cool stuff with that blade. But here is a Curry geometry, differentially hardened 1566. Typically a Hanwei steel, but used in Dragon King. Kind of all makes sense now that the Hanwei Forge has gone under. So, just a little plain Tsuba, and you get your Kappa, Habaki, Kappa Seppa. Actually, this thing feels great. So, I mean, I expected not to like it because it wasn't traditional, but the way that it feels in hand, it almost feels more like a boken than anything else, which I like. Because years ago, Hanwei put out that tactical line that was absolute dog shit, and it felt like a blocky mess. And these don't feel like that at all. These are really well done. Oh shit, the saya. Ishime saya. Not crazy textured, but like enough. Just more than enough. Like it doesn't get bound up in your obi. Feels great. Really like this one. It's one of the ones I've hung on to because it's a super light wakizashi, and like I said, like, ooh, this thing don't work, so it's a little more manageable for me than something that's a little heavier. But yeah, I really like that one. Let me give you the measurements. Where is it? DK Modern Wakizashi. Okay, so this thing weighs in at 1.43 pounds. The Nagasa is 19.5, and the Suka is 6 1/4. So, like I said, generally on a wakizashi, I like to see them at 6 inches. 6 1/4 is not really a deal breaker. Neither is the other one. It's at like, what did I say, 6 3/4. Not terrible, but like once you start getting over that, like you got to realize, like, here's your wakizashi, right? And you're coming down for a cut. There's your arm. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want anything to obstruct what you're doing. And once you start getting over a 6-inch Suka, that's generally what happens, in my opinion anyway, or at least in my experience. So, I really like this one. Not a lot of Hirazikuris on the market to start with, and when they are, they're more expensive generally. This was a very good deal. I think this was like a $230 blade or something like that. Yeah, just a really good cutting sword. I've done a little bit of work with this thing on camera. Haven't in a very long time, but when I was cutting with it often, it was a good time. Like I said, I kind of stay away from the wakizashis for the most part, and generally just use my katana. But yeah, that's this guy. Highly recommend this entire series from DK. This is like a budget hero in tactical, like furniture, but like tactical done right. Like I said, these handles feel a lot more like boken than they feel like those disgusting fucking Hanwei tactical things that came out. So, highly recommend these, man. Big fan of Dragon King and like all the stuff they do, as you'll see. What do we got next here? DK Winter Sun. There's another Dragon King. Which one is this? I got like 2 sword bags. They're the same color. I'm trying to figure out which one's which. This should be my Winter Sun. Alright. Dragon King Winter Sun. Black Ishime finish on the saya. Same kind of Ishime that's on the modern wakizashi, modern katana. Snowflake Manuki. Just kind of like monkeys watching the snowfall theme. I know in Jensen's review he had the snowflake here. I wish this thing had the snowflake here. That thing looks so cool. But sadly it doesn't. But still a great sword. This is actually one of my favorite through hardened blades that I've ever had. Tone Def gifted me the sword. Tone Def is an awesome dude. Awesome backyard cutter. Some of the best form that you'll see on YouTube. Completely self-taught. You wouldn't know that by watching his stuff, but yeah, he's incredible, man. Really good human being, really good cutter. You're gonna notice a theme like throughout this video. Like all these guys in this community are really, really good guys, and Tone Def is no exception. Awesome dude. Thank you, brother. Really, really appreciate this. I will treasure it forever. I've kind of like stained Samegawa intentionally, kind of make it look antiqued a little bit. I like it. You may not, but I like it. And, yeah. Through hardened. What are these? I think these are 5160 spring steel. This one's got like a 30 3/4 inch Nagasa. Weighs in at a little under 3 pounds. And, oh yeah, the Suka. The Suka on this one is 12 3/4. So almost a 13-inch Suka. I love that. Longer Suka, I feel like just give you more options. I feel like there's nothing you can't do with a long Suka, and I feel like there are things that you can't do with a shorter Suka. So that's just my opinion. You know, your mileage may vary, but I'm a big fan of larger blades and larger Sukas. I feel like it just opens up the realm of possibility. But yeah, beautiful sword. You can't even like tell, no, I won't say that. Like within like the first day or two, I was used to the sword, and I absolutely love using it, man. It's one of my favorite cutters that I have. I've taken this thing from 1,000 grit up to like 30,000 grit or 20,000. I forget what the highest one I had was, but it's an absolutely incredible cutter now. It was when I got it, but now it's even better. Just a great blade. And it's through hardened. You don't have to worry about the polish as much. You can kind of just get out there and go for it, and that's a great thing to have in a sword that you plan on cutting with. And this thing can like do it all. Like it's not the thickest thing ever, but it's definitely not, it's not dainty. So it can. I haven't really tested it on hard targets, but I've hit my stand with it before. No bends, no chips, no sets, nothing. Like, this thing just ate it and, like, took a big old chunk out of it and just kept rolling. But I love the silver habaki on these. Seppa, kind of like stepped. Like, stippled almost. Dragon King just does a fantastic job with this stuff. Like, everything that I've had from Dragon King, I've absolutely loved. I've had almost every budget model that you can have. And they've all gone to different homes at one time or another. I have left what I have left, but yeah, they've all been fantastic swords. They've all come very sharp. Not really to the sharpness level of like the ROM, but damn near close. So yeah, this is one of my favorite blades that I have, man. Huge fan of this one. Tone, thank you, brother. So we're gonna move on. What do I got next? We're gonna do the fletching. It's another gift from another sword buddy. My buddy Katana Carl sent me this sword. Carl's an awesome dude. Like I said, man, all these dudes are awesome dudes. But awesome dude, awesome cutter. Some of the best reviews that you're ever going to see on YouTube are done by Katana Collection. He hasn't done a video in a while, but just a really good channel. Great cinematography, great cutting. And I think that's half the battle, man. You know, it's a lot easier for me to take your opinion at face value when I see that you're proficient with the tool that you're revealing. You know, there's some people out there that, you know, that aren't as proficient with the tool, and I tend to, you know, take their opinion with a grain of salt, whereas, you know, people that I know what they're doing, I tend to value their opinion a little bit more. But this is my Dragon King fletching, like I said, from Katana Collection. Brown Shime Saya, Copper Suba, in the fletching style. See the arrows. Same thing with the Manuki. broadhead Manuki. It's a really nice sword. Kashira also copper with the arrow theme. Dragon King just does a fantastic job of just putting a theme on their katana, and I feel like that just, you know, it just adds something to it that a lot of these companies seem to miss. So Tsukamaki pretty even. Again, this is a budget model sword. 65 MN, differentially hardened though. It's got a great hamon on it. It's a little hard to pick up, but trust me, it's there. Yeah, just fucking a really good sword. A lot of fun to cut with. I'm gonna put this up there so you can look at it. So there's that. I'm gonna give you some specs on it. Dragon King fletching, weighs in at 2.65 pounds. The Nagasa is 28.5 inches, and the Suka is 12.25. So another longer Suka katana. Not a super long blade, but a longer blade than like a 27. You know what I mean? Like I've already gone into my whole spiel about like how much I like longer blades and longer Sukas, so I'm not gonna do it again. But yeah, this thing is so light and maneuverable. It surprised the shit out of me because I assumed it would be heavy, but it's very agile and it's effortless to move around. I really enjoy using this thing. I use it often. One of the first times I ever got that static on a noodle piece on a zero distance was with the flexion katana. Great sword, Karl. Thank you so much, brother. This is one of my favorite models that I have. You know, it's always more special when a friend gifts it to you. So, you know, shout out to Katana Collection. Please check out Katana Collection, man. Awesome dude, awesome channel. So we're gonna roll right into the Ogami Ito. I'm a huge Lone Wolf and Cub fan. One of my favorite movies out there. I've yet to see the series, but I've seen all the movies like shit 20 times each at least. I absolutely love Lone Wolf and Cub. Comes with the Kazuya Ka knife. I'm sure I just butchered the pronunciation of that, but it's in there. That's where it sits in the saya. It's got a little dugout, and there's the knife. It's got this like Hana theme thing going on, but it's a pretty faithful reproduction of Ogami Ito's katana. There we go. Make sure you get in there right, dummy. There we go. But yeah, I was stoked on this one. I couldn't wait to get this because, like I said, I love Lone Wolf and Cub, man. This abalone, Suba. Really good Tsukamaki on this one. I expected not to like these fittings because it kind of like, when I was looking at it, I was kind of like, it kind of looks like a mall katana, you know, the way the fittings are. But actually, I really like it now. It's one of my best cutting swords. You get this like stripe thing going on up here at the mouth of the saya, and then down here you got like this. I don't even know how to describe this, man. It's kind of strange, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure how I feel about this part of it yet, but this I like. This is fucking cool. So like if you're you know in Seiza and you're going to cut or whatever, you know, you bang this thing off the floor. It's all metal, so you know you don't have to worry about messing up your saya too much. But this is a great blade. I haven't had this one that long, but it's one of the ones that I really enjoy cutting with. This is another one. I've taken this thing up to like 10,000 grit or something like that. It's just it's a lot of fun to use, but it's not one that's probably going to get much use. It's probably going to be more of a showpiece than anything else. But yeah, this thing weighs in at 2.59 pounds, 28.5 inch Nagasa, and 11.25 inch Suka. So I was actually kind of shocked when I measured it because it felt like it was a much shorter Suka than what it is. But yeah, the polish on this guy, just a differentially hardened T10 blade, but I love the polish on this thing. my camera's not going to pick it up, but like there's a hotter to it. It's a really good looking sword, and I really enjoy using it. It's kind of like your distal. A lot of these DKs, like almost like Hanweis and like how thick they are, but they handle. I feel like DK just does a better job than Hanwei in a lot of aspects, but almost like just a more fine-tuned Hanwei. And I'm a huge fan of Hanwei. I really enjoy their blades. I have a few of them, but yeah, I just feel like DK overall just does a better job. So that's the Ogami Ito. Just gonna give you one more, look at it. Silver fittings, Emperor Node, Dragon Manuki. Polish is just killer. I mean, you either like the Hanwei, Dragon King, Frosted Hamon, or you don't. I generally love it. One of my favorite Hamons to see. I know not everybody feels that way, but I enjoy it, so. That's that one. So let's go on to the next one. Ogami Ito. Okay. Where's this guy at? There we go. I just got this today, so give me a second here. Oh, it's the wrong one. Where is it? Where is it? Right here. There we go. Alright, I just got this today. I have not had this long. This is another Dragon King, but this has been customized not by me, thank God. This is my Dragon King Sea Wave. It's been rewrapped in Namikawa, Nubuck Ito, by ZSG 1313 from SBG Sword Forum. These are 20-year-old Bugei fittings on the sword. This guy does incredible work. His Tsukamaki is awesome. His polishing work is fantastic. He also did that Hana that I had. Just an absolutely incredible job. Beautiful. Probably going to end up swapping the Saya out or having it repainted, one or the other, to kind of go with this. But it was one of the main reasons that I bought this was the Bugei fittings. And I wanted a Sea Wave. I just didn't want to pay retail for it. This was just a little bit of a better deal. And yeah, I mean, the Bugei fittings are wicked cool. They don't make these anymore. They've since switched over to making different fittings for that model, so those are gone. So I wanted to kind of have that. But here's the blade, 9260 T10, differentially hardened, folded steel. I don't know how well my camera's going to pick it up, but you can see the hot in this one. I'll probably do a short or something with this, just to show the hot a little better, since it's not really picking it up in the light in my living room. But yeah, just a really, really well done sword. Just a lot of fun to swing around. I've only had it for like a couple hours, man. I haven't even had it for that long, but generally I've been enjoying it. It's a lot of fun to use. Sure I'll get some use this weekend. Go ahead and give you the specs on this real quick before I get ahead of myself. DK Sea Wave weighs in at 2.34 pounds. 28-inch blade, which is great when I found that out. One of the main reasons I didn't want this sword originally was because I thought it was 27. I try to stay away from those. It's a little bit too short for me. But the 28-inch blade, that's awesome. And then 10 3/4-inch Suka. And it's been rewrapped by ZSG, and he just does a fantastic job. This blade's a lot of fun. I haven't really gotten a chance to use it as much as I'd like to yet, but that will change. So that's that. And move on. What do we got next? Shadow Dancer. So this is my Shadow Dancer Sanmai Katana. This is in, I believe, 1095 and 1045 Sanmai. So it's like a sandwich of steel. 1095 being the edge, and then like the folded sides and stuff being like 1045. But great Tsukamaki, but, you know, almost the exact same Tsukamaki. I think this is a recessed panel, so you don't see the boxiness that you see on this one, but literally the exact same Tsuka. But this is about the Shadow Dancer, not about the ROM, so we'll leave that down there. But these guys just kind of knock it out of the park with their fittings and just like the way that everything goes together. This model I did have an issue with, but there's nothing really serious. This Suba I absolutely love. The blue and white Ito with the snowflake theme. Just really cool. Didn't see if we can pick up the Emperor node that's on here. Right there. And this was like a, I don't even remember what I paid for this, but I know it was under 500 bucks. But this is kind of like an Ishime Saya, but not really. It's like a smoothed out Ishime. It's kind of very smooth. Copper Habaki. That was my issue. Is not as tight as it should be. You could correct that with a SEPA. I kind of just went full idiot mode and kind of like squeezed it with some pliers. But not generally what you should do. But absolutely beautiful blade. Again, my camera's not going to do it any justice, but very pretty to look at. You can see, you know, your sandby. I mean, you can see your lamination line and everything else. It's a really cool looking blade. This is a lot of fun to cut with. I've done a couple things with it. Generally, it's not my thing. Not really what I wanted. It's one of the ones that I wasn't super happy with, but it's not really in my wheelhouse. It doesn't have a longer Suka. It's not really a longer blade. It's just really not my thing. This one's actually going to go off to Eric Hussein. But here's some specs on it. So this thing weighs in at 2.3 pounds. Nagasa is 28 inches. And the Suka is 10.5. So no different than the ROMs. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed using the ROMs better, to be honest with you. Shadow Dancer does great work. Zisei does great work. And Zisei and Shadow Dancer are one and the same. I don't care what anybody says. These are just like, I think this is just like, Zisei is like the parent company to Shadow Dancer. Is what I gather from it. Like everything is way too similar for them to be two separate companies. I don't care what dream anybody's trying to sell you. It's all bullshit. They're definitely the same. And I've had a Zisei, and that one also, I also sent that one over to Eric Hussein because it wasn't my thing. But I figured I'd try it again for a little less money, and still came to the same conclusion. So beautiful swords. I love the Hamon on this thing, but that's kind of like as deep as it goes. Other than that, it's really not for me. I can use it, and I can use it well. There's other blades that I'd rather use. They kind of fit the style of swordsmanship that I practice a little better. So that's the Shadow Dancer. I'll give you one more look at this guy before I put it away. Maybe my camera will pick up the Hamon a little better, but it doesn't look like it. But the Hamon is like really worth the price of admission with the sword. It's just a beautiful Hamon on this blade. And the blades are great. Like, they come fairly sharp. I know I had to strop and sharpen this thing out of the box. It wasn't as sharp as it should have been, but yeah. I don't really have anything too bad to say about it. I mean, they're great blades. They're just not for me, which is okay. What do we got next? Conway Lion Dog. Where you at? Right there. Conway Lion Dog Katana. This is one of my favorite swords. I would love to have this thing rewrapped in blue. Blue Ito over the white Same. This thing came with some killer Same on one side. The other side leaves a little bit to be desired, but this side done really well. The Hanwei fittings are just like top notch. Just great looking fittings usually. This is no exception. Just absolutely love my Hanwei stuff. The Sai is fucking beautiful. It's got like that, I don't even know what you would call that, almost like a rattan. And then it goes to an Ishime. And this thing feels great. It does kind of get bound up a little bit in the obi, but yeah, I mean, I've still been able to do draw cuts and you know, stuff like that with it, so it doesn't really hinder you too much. It's just something that you have to adjust for. But this is a beautiful sword, rounded at the end of the saya. But really, like, the polish on this thing and the hamon is like top notch. Like, very, very nice. And once again, my camera's not going to do this thing justice, so. But yeah, just a great blade. This has got the Okasaki here too, which I love to see. I wish more swords had the Okasaki. Absolutely love that. Just a beautiful sword, man. And this one's heavy. This one's not light by any means. This is a 3-pound blade. This one also I had some issues with. They sent me this thing, and the saya rubbed on one side of the blade, messed up the polish a little bit. I reached out to Hanwei, and I bought it through Swordies, and Swordies just like went above and beyond. Like, it wasn't even anything that they caused. There was nothing they could have even known about, and they still like were about to go out of their way to like send me a new one and everything else. And yeah, shout out to Swordies, man. They're an awesome distributor. Like, they're the only one that I'll use now. They're just fantastic. They just go above and beyond, and can't recommend them highly enough. But we'll go ahead and give you some specs on the Hanwei Lion Dog. So this thing weighs into 3 pounds and some change. I think it's like 3.03 pounds on this guy. The Nagasa, 28 3/4, and the Suka, 13-inch Suka. So if you don't like a longer Suka or a longer blade, this probably isn't for you. And this thing is also like thick as shit. So, and it stays thick as shit all the way down. But this is one of these blades that's like, it's great for training. Like, if you use this thing, you know, for like a week and then swap over to something that's lighter, it's incredible, like, the difference that you feel. But this really isn't bad to use either. Like, this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite cutting swords. I've sharpened this guy, and I took it up to like 20,000, and it's just a fucking lightsaber. Does everything that I want it to do, and it probably shouldn't with the profile that it runs, and you know, with how heavy it is, but it takes out pretty much everything. It does light targets. I've never hit anything tough with it, but I'm absolutely positive that it would handle it. Like, the thing is, how thick this thing is, man. Like, I have no doubt that it would handle it, but I generally don't do that. You know, I try to stay away from the realm of abuse cutting. Like, there's plenty of other guys who do that and do it better. I try to just cut like more traditional stuff, not traditional stuff, but like lighter targets. You know, it kind of shows the blade, I feel, better. It shows what it's capable of. If you have a sharp blade, it's going to cut lighter targets, and it just, to me, it just makes more sense. But that's just me. So that was a Lion Dog. We're going to go into the Classic Tiger now. This is my Hanwei Classic Tiger Katana. Metal Kojiri. It's got like these gold details on this piano black saya. Metal Koiguchi. Like I said, man, the Hanwei fittings are just like a step above. The Hanwei and the DK fittings are just incredible fittings. Just love the theme of this thing. I've wanted this thing for like 10 years, man. I finally just said fuck it and just bought it. So this is an awesome blade, man. This is a long blade too. This is like right up there with the Winter Sun. This thing weighs in at 2.7 pounds. It's a 29 3/4 inch Nagasa and an almost 14-inch Suka. It comes in at 13 3/4. So once again, longer blade, longer suka. If that's not your thing, this might not be for you. But spin this guy around too. This thing is absolutely fantastic. I have done some cutting with this off camera. Not as much stuff on camera yet. Nothing on camera yet, but this thing is incredible. This is probably like my favorite sword outside of like my HSTS Budo, which we're gonna get to in a minute here. But yeah, like Hanwei's kind of like does this. It seems is like they'll give you one side of Same that's like really good. Like here's the Emperor node, not as good as my Lion Dog, but you know it's passable. It's at least got the Emperor node on it and stuff. Got like this bamboo theme Manuki here. Kind of wish it was a tiger. I feel like it would have gone a little better with it, but bamboo is also on the side, so I get it. But yeah, you know, but yeah, Ito moves around a little bit. It's really just this one spot here. I just kind of fixed it if you saw. But other than that, it's very tight. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. I really enjoy this one. Like I said, this is one I've been wanting for years and years. I just finally kind of said whatever and just got it. And this is the K120C differentially hardened Swedish powdered steel. I had this same steel on my Bushido die show that I had at the start of my channel. I've since sold that, but steel's incredible, man. It holds up great. I remember having my Bushidos and whacking them into my stand, you know, trying to cut lighter targets and never having an issue. It held up great, held its edge, did everything it was supposed to. And this is the same steel, so I'm hoping it's the same thing. The Bohi, you know, you never know, but very honorable sword. It's a great training tool. I have a lot of fun using this thing. It's one that I kind of struggle to put down because it's just so much fun to swing. And yeah, this is just one of my favorite swords that I have. Big fan of the Hanwei stuff. At least the higher end Hanwei stuff. I've had some you know, budget Hanwei stuff in my day that I didn't enjoy. But the high end stuff has seemed to be pretty good so far. Not perfect, you know. Nothing really is, but for the most part, I feel like it checks all the boxes. So very happy with this one. We're gonna go ahead and do the last one now. So last sword I got is my HSTS Budo. This is a trade sword. I traded Eric Hussein, my Z-Say, for it. And I absolutely love the sword. I had an RK2 years and years and years ago. I sold it like an idiot. I wish I never did. But yeah, this is my favorite sword, without a doubt. Everything about it, the balance, the blade, Tsukamaki, Silk Tsukamaki, Catfish Manuki, wave themed fittings. And like really well done wave themed fittings. Can't even talk. Just really enjoy this one. Sugo Hamon. I would do a lot more stuff with this if there was an opportunity to be able to buy another one if something went wrong. I think the main problem is I love this thing so much that I'm terrified like I might fuck it up cutting with it. So I tend not to cut with it as much as I probably would like to. But yeah. Same thing as like the Karudo Shidao, like that kind of rattan style saya. I don't believe this is horn. Pretty sure it's just wood. Actually, no, this is horn. Yeah, it's definitely horn. Can't see it. But yeah, this is my favorite sword. Just everything about the sword, the way that it handles, the way that it cuts. HSTS was, in my opinion, the best sword company out there. I wish they were still around because they made fantastic stuff. So the blade weighs in at 2.3 pounds, 28-inch Nagasa, 11.5-inch Suka. And yeah, man, there's really not much else to say about it. If you know, you know. The Budo with the top of the line. as far as HSTS went. They didn't make anything better than the Budo. That was it. And it's kind of weird, like the steel makeup of the Budo is like something that was like a hot topic for a while. People were like, oh, like, you know, like, I don't know. It was just, it was kind of like a mystery steel. Ricky didn't really want to disclose what it was because he didn't want people copying what he was doing. And he's got it listed on his site as high alloy Chinese Tamahagane. But I think what the community has come to decide is it's like 1095 with some added stuff, kind of like Z-Say when they're like crucible steel improved by us. It's like that kind of scenario where like they've done something to the makeup of the metal, but they're not going to tell you what it is because they don't want everybody and their brother doing the exact same thing, which is actually smart business-wise. It's just a little bit frustrating as a consumer because you can't be like, hey man, this is a fucking 9260 blade or this is a fucking 1095 blade. Like, can't do that, you know what I mean? So it's a little frustrating, but I mean, at the end, it's really not a big deal to me. I'm not one of those guys who's like, this steel. Like, if it fucking works and it holds an edge, that's really all I kind of care about. Generally, I try to get like 1095s and like T10s, but you know, you saw my Munitoshi. That's a differentially hardened 1060. Something they really rarely do nowadays. Now that the T10 is so readily available, but yeah, man, that's my collection. I'm gonna put a couple of my favorites up here. Oh fuck! I just put my face in this video. That's all I did. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got. I'm gonna put a couple of my favorite swords up here, and you guys can kind of just check them out. And that's gonna be it. I'm gonna call it after that. But a little bit of eye candy. Alright, this has been the collection video.